Good morning. I am actually completely off of my own patch this morning. I'm in a place called Putnam Common, which is just outside Guildford in Surrey. I don't know this location at all, so what I'm doing this morning is pretty much what I always do when I go to a brand new place, which is really walk and try and relax my mind a bit first. I think if you step out of the car at a place that you don't know, that you're always going to kind of end up like a headless chicken hunting for images immediately. So that what I tend to do is go for a nice stroll first thing, just explore the place a little bit. I've pretty much got it to myself. I think there's somebody coming. So this kind of half an hour I spend wandering around is really more about relaxing the mind and just getting myself into a receptive frame of mind for photography. As I say, this is all absolutely brand new. It looks, actually, that looks pretty grim. I've not got great footwear on today, so I'm not going to risk. That's quite stinky as well. Let me, I'll try this path over here, see what we get. Often you find there's a happy accident if you get diverted off of the normal route or the way you were thinking you were going to be going. You'll often find something better, or you'll certainly find something worthy of a photograph on the route that you weren't intending to take. This is actually looking quite nice ahead. Some lovely colour in the bracken here. Oh, actually there's a beautiful lake. This could be very nice. It's like a fantastic pine tree. Just here, look at that trunk on that. Amazing. So I quite happily wandered and explored the woodland for about half an hour, trying to circumnavigate the boggy ground that I'd come across earlier on. I wasn't wearing walking boots, unfortunately. I was only wearing a pair of Skechers, which act like a sponge if you get anywhere near water. But of course that meant that I've had a look around and really explored quite a few new paths that I wouldn't have even seen had I not worn the wrong shoes. It really wasn't much longer until I found something that I really fancy getting my camera out and having a look at. And today really is very much a reconnaissance trip. I'm here for a couple of days. So I've got 2 mornings ahead of me. I think tomorrow's forecast is for fog or mist at dawn. So I'm down here at 9 o'clock this morning, but tomorrow I'll probably head down here for 6:30 in the morning. If there's some atmosphere, that'll be absolutely lovely. And I'll definitely be making some images this morning, there's no doubt about it. I'm going to be here for 4 or 5 hours, so I'm just going to wander around and just get a really good idea of what's here. I've got all day. I can spend as long as I like, really. If the sun comes out later on, I might head back indoors, but as long as it's this beautiful flat grey light, this is perfect for me. Some great shapes. So I've already found a couple of fairly nice images. There's a lovely downed pine tree here. The bark itself is beautiful. There's probably a couple of details there as well. I love the blue light reflecting off that, actually, that's lovely. But then here we've got the actual main trunk itself, which has got no bark left. All the bark chips are on the ground. But with all the very, very upright trees at the back, that's rather nice. I'll show you what I've got in the camera. There we go. I've tried a couple of different compositions, slightly wider and also horizontal as well. And also, if I come out here, I've made a couple of images across this meadow. It's actually very boggy ground. There's an awful lot of, it's kind of a minefield of cow manure. So it's quite nice to know that this is grazed. You see in here there's kind of a little bit of a minefield going on, but it's obviously grazed. They've put cattle on here, which is all for good management. But over the back, woodland's just absolutely delicious. So I picked out a couple of little details already. This is rather nice. Perfect mirror pool. Gosh, that fly agaric, I'm sure those three fly agarics right by the side of the little pond there. What a gift that was. I've never seen such kind of almost a fluorescent orange red on one of those before. It was quite remarkable. These woodlands are tremendous. As much as I like the deep woodland, I think I'm going to go this way just to get a bit of variety. There's often quite a lot of interest along the edge of woodland and more open areas. So I think up here as well, it looks like it's the crown of the hill. So this could actually afford me some longer views. Still some heather in flower as well. Well, I had been hoping for maybe a few more kind of colour shots around the edge of the woodlands, but everything's looking pretty much like September here, even though it's October now. The grey sky is perfect. I love photographing details under a flat neutral day grey sky like this, but of course it does have the effect when you're out in the open of really flattening and deadening the light. So I'm going to head back down. There's a little gap through the woodlands over here. I can see some pine trees, so I'm going to head in there. And that takes me down the edge of what looks like a whole section of birches. So when I get back in there again, I think probably got an understory of bracken in there as well, so there'll probably be a lot more colour back. So So I literally stepped away from the path to have a look at that fallen tree and its background of these fir trees here, but now I've got this fantastic kind of window that's opened up into the woodlands below me. So out on the heath up there, interestingly, everything looked absolutely dead. Now I've got some canopy over the top of me. You can see the colour starting to come back. And I've basically set up this shot here. I just get the previous exposure up. Great, there you go. So we've got basically this lovely window, and I've opened the lens up a little bit to f8 to shoot this, just so that it created more of a sort of softness in the front of the frame, so the aperture that opens up into that view of the birch tree at the back is a little bit softer, so it really draws the eye through. Well, I've already found so many things that I've liked and a few that I photographed. The light now has changed. I'm in the wrong place. The light has changed now, and the sun has broken through the cloud, which makes life a lot more complicated. It would be lovely if there was mist, because that would, you could backlight the mist through the trees. But as it is, with bright yellow bracken catching the sunlight, what you're going to end up with is lots of hot spots in the pictures. So I'm hoping that it dips in and out for a while. I'm going to carry on wandering. I've been here now for about 3.5 hours, and I will continue to wander and kind of get some ideas for tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow morning will be exactly the conditions that have been forecast, which is mist from sunrise until around about 9-10 o'clock in the morning. So that'll give me 3 hours of some amazing conditions, and I can go back really to some of the things I've seen this morning and have a look at them in a bit of mist, hopefully. Good morning. It's just gone to 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's not really looking that promising, to be honest. It's more of a clag than a mist. But I'm going to head for the highest ground here, which I found yesterday while I was roaming around. This is a different car park to the one I went to yesterday, so I'm already starting from a higher vantage point. I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes walk to the top of the hill from here. So I'm going to set off now, probably get lost again and never find it, but we'll see how we go. There really are some wonderfully charismatic oak trees here. They're all quite low. They're obviously grown relatively low to the ground. Got these lovely kind of spreading boughs on them rather than being upright and too tall. There's quite a few of these around. I might come back to these a bit later on once the light improves. I am already lost. Paths. There's no maps here really. There's a kind of a vague map in the car park. I'm heading downhill and I don't really want to be doing that. So, seem to be no tracks, then suddenly you're on a main track. At least with the light being fairly neutral again, there's no real desperate hurry to be in any specific place. There's no mist. I was hoping to get high up just to see if there was mist in kind of in the woodland valleys. My recollection from yesterday was from the top, all there really was, as far as the eye could see, were ridges of tree lines, which is kind of typical Surrey landscape. So I wanted to get up there and hope there'd be a bit of separation created by mist, but I mean, to be honest with you, if there's some haze, that will help. This is a junction of maybe 6 paths coming together. Now, this isn't actually going to say anything other than bridle away, I think. Oh yeah, there we go. That's quite a lot of use. Okay, so I've finally found my way out onto the top of the hill. So this is the first place so far that I actually recognise from yesterday. It's all very, very neutral colour-wise at the moment. Pretty flat. But there is the scope. This I think probably in another fortnight's time, once the oaks really start to turn, could be very nice indeed. Of course, not living close to here, that's probably not going to be something I can come and look at. What I was hoping was to arrive here and maybe, if there'd been some colour this morning, that would have been lovely, and if there'd been some thicker mist in amongst the trees, that would have been really nice. The cloud above is, as you can see in here, is just really looks fairly hefty and thick as well, so I think it's going to take a while to clear. That's great news for detail photography, but it's not for the plan I had. But there's always plan B, C and D, so I think what I'll do is have a little look through the longer lens just out onto the horizon where there are some layers. I can see 4 or 5 layers of woodland. It might need a bit of help in post-processing to really bring out that, but that could work. And then I'll head down into the trees and look at some close-ups. I've learnt over the years that having a fixed plan is really like a pathway to disappointment. Particularly shooting large format, it had to be really, really flexible to suit the conditions that you were given on the day. And I actually think that having that mindset has proven to be quite successful over the years. I very rarely go out and come back empty-handed. If you've got a fixed idea in your head and the conditions don't work, basically that's it. You're coming back without what you wanted to get. But if you've got a flexible approach to your photography, then plans have to change, and you're going to find something different. And certainly on this occasion, in the end, looking back on the images I've made on this particular weekend, I'm really pleased with some of the results. And then none of them are really what I was expecting, but they are probably better than the image I originally had in mind. So what I'm actually looking at first and foremost is the 2 birch trees at the bottom here, and then layers out onto the horizon. So I'm hardly including any sky at all, because it's adding nothing at all to the image. Well, I'm just leaving that meadow behind. Cows are just up on the hill up there, and I'm going to head up this track here, which is taking me, I believe, back towards where I've parked the car. But you never know in this place, I could be going the opposite direction. This looked a little bit more interesting, a bit more mixed woodland here as well. This all feels quite a bit wilder in here, which can be much more chaotic. There's a lot of brambles amongst the bracken, so they tend to just stay deep green, not the most interesting colour on a day like today. Okay, finally, I think this track is pretty rough, but I think I finally found something straight ahead. A couple of pine trees. The colour's completely changing, but there's a lovely lead in up this path to those trees. So long lens is already on. I'll take a look. So I'll leave you now with a slideshow of the images that I made the weekend before last on a brief visit to Surrey. My plans were scuppered by change in the conditions, but as you'll hopefully see from these images, I managed to snatch a little bit of victory from the jaws of defeat. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.